I got 2 sets of new belts, 63 and a half and 63. And let's see if I can get that problem with the belt straightened out. So I did a little research on those belts, right? Because, okay, maybe I could be wrong, but I doubt it. So on the website, it shows, or the website, well, let's see, what website? So Rock Auto is where I purchased the belts from. And on their website, when you click on the little info button for the belt, it pops up and it says, oh, the effective length of the belt is this dimension, and then the outside overall length of the belt is this dimension. So I've never heard of anybody using the term effective length. What does effective mean, right? That makes no sense to me. So I looked up the words effective length, and it pops up and it says that the effective length is the measurement of the center of the 2 pulleys times 2 plus the dimension of 1 pulley. So if you have 1 pulley that's a different size, how does that work? I don't know. Doesn't make any sense to me. And the overall length should be the outside diameter of the belt. So in theory, you should measure from the top of the pulley to the bottom of the pulley's outside edge, and that should give you the length of the belt, or close to it. But I'm not sure. I'm confused. So we're going to see if I can measure these pulleys and then see if the dimensions match. And then I'll put on the correct size pulley. Not pulley, belt. Either way, whatever. I'm going to do something. I just haven't figured out what I'm going to do. So thank God it's somewhat cloudy out, although the humidity is somewhat extreme for the desert climate. And I believe it's about 98 degrees in the shade. Let's take a look at what the thermometer says. And oh, it actually says 100 degrees in the shade. And the humidity's got to be about 15 to 20%. I could feel it. I feel sticky. So, but there's a nice breeze occasionally. You grab my tripod. I need my bump hat because I'm going to stick my head inside the engine cowl. Let me set this up here. Get my bump hat. I'm not going to... Alright, so I got my bump hat on. I'm going to get a pair of gloves, but I have a feeling the gloves are really not going to work due to the fact that it's high humidity and they're just going to fill up with water and get sloppy. It's a good thing the other day I cleaned up that area, so it should be a little cleaner to work in. I'm not going to put on any lingerie. I'm going to get to it and I'm going to knock it out. Hey, I wonder if that bee-nut is still dry. Let's take a look. It's been a week now, I believe. It's been laying there without any interference. Let's see what that says. What does that say? That says I can't. Oh, is there a little drip? Oh, there's a little drip on the bottom of the B-nut. Damn it. All that work and it's not 100%. Isn't that the way a life is? All right, let me climb up on here. So here we have 2 bolts, one here, one down there, and then there's 2 bolts on this side, the same thing. And what that does is it loosens this plate, and this plate is adjusted by this nut or this bolt up and down. So I'm going to loosen these. They should go quite easily, since I've already took it apart once. That one's tight too. Okay. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Camera's picking that up, but the pulley is going down. Down, down, down. And now it's loose. Alright. I don't want to go all the way down and impinge the fan on the shroud, but I want it to be loose enough where I can lift the belts off. Alright. Okay. Well, I guess when I cleaned everything, all the dirt is on top of the pulleys. I'm gonna have to clean that off first before I put them back. So now I need to lift those belts up above the fan. there's one. There's two blades, right? That are longer. And they're hitting the bottom. All right, so I got the belts out, easy peasy. All right, and you can see. No, you can't see on this side. Oh, let's see, maybe. No, let me go to the other side. So that fan blade is a little longer than the rest of the blades on the fan because it's rubbing the shroud. So you can see where that's hitting the shroud, right? That's why. All right. That's why it's important to have the correct length fan blades. Ouch! I banged my knee. Ow. Yeah, I'm starting to sweat profusely, and the salt is starting to get into my eyes. Okay, so I ordered 9630 HD, which means they should be 63 inches. But according to the fine print on the bottom, they're 63 and 13/32. So if you do the arithmetic, 13/32 is about 0.40. So 4/10, a little bit less, or a tenth less than a ½ inch. So technically, this belt is actually 63.5 inches. This belt is a 9635, which should mean it's 63.5 inches. But if you read the fine print, it says it's 63 and 29/32, which makes it 63.90 of an inch. So if you take the 63 13/32 and the 63 29/32 and you subtract that, you actually get a ½ inch. So there is a ½ inch difference between these two belts. Does that make sense? Yes, it does, because this says it's a 63.5 and this says it's 63. But the belt is not actually 63. It's 63 and 29/32 and 63 and 13/32. I didn't remember that. So which one do I go with? Those were 64 and 3/8, right? And the old ones I took off, I never measured them. Couldn't get the part number off them because they were old. But according to the illustrated parts catalog that I have, and the cross-reference the belt numbers, they're supposed to be 64 inches. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the 63-inch belt. And I'm going to see if I can get the 63-inch belt on the way it's set up now. This way, now I know I only have one or two blades that are a little longer and that are touching. If I can get the 63 on and tighten it up, that means I'll be pulling that blade that's a little bit longer up off the shroud, and there shouldn't be a problem. Now if I can't get the 63 on the way it's set up right now, then I'll put the 63.5 belt on. That's my scientific method. So let's see what happens here. Put the camera back on the other side. See if I can focus it in on the top belt. Oh, I need to clean that off. That's right. All right, I'm going to shut everything down here and take a minute to clean that off. I'll be back in a few. So I ripped the condom here, right? Cleaning that up. So basically, I'm going bareback. That's enough of that. Put this belt over the fan like that. Work it around. Until I can get it on the other side. That's nice. Look at that. That's amazing how it's going on so nicely. Alright, let's spin the fan. Okay, so now the fan belt is on the opposite side. Gonna put that on the front like so. But ow, my knees! I should put that on the bottom first here. Alright, I'm having an issue here finding a comfortable position. So let's put it back on the bottom first. Alright, so I'm on the bottom. I'm on the bottom pulley. And now I'm going to lift it up and see if it fits on the top pulley. Ouch! Is not cooperating on this side. Nope. So the 63 is going to be too short, and as you can see, I'm pretty well down to the bottom. I got another ½ inch on the adjustment to go down, but I can't really go down a ½ inch because that fan blade is hitting the shroud. So I don't see, no, there's no way I'm going to get that 30. So I need that extra ½ inch. Alright, let's take it off and then go to the 35, the 63.5. How much slop is in this one here? Right, as opposed to this one. Oh, God. Alright, so I killed the GoPro battery just doing that. And dude, oh, my face is sweaty. I don't understand why that one is shorter. It says it's the same length on the belt, right? But it seems to be just a tad bit shorter. So let's try to measure that again. I should have stopped at the auto parts store and had them put it on the belt ruler and have them measure them and see which ones are which. Because that second one should have been just as easy as the first one putting on the pulley. Putting it on. I don't know. It just seems like nothing is going easy. Okay, so I'm gonna put those belts around that radiator cap. and I'm going to pull them and see. So got that one pulled tight. Alright. Yeah. Can you see the difference on that? Let me turn that over here. So pull that one tight, and I pull that one tight. Right? And, no, okay, that's all right. All right, there we go. Now I'm on the cap, right? I pull that tight, and look how much slop is on that bottom one, right? What the hell? And they're both marked 63.5 HD, right? There we go. Huh. So they're both 63.5, right? And you can see the difference, right? Okay, so the top one, well, let me get that back on the cap. Okay, so they're both on the cap, right? And you can see the difference in the slop, right? WTF. That's what I'm crying. WTF. Okay, let's check the third one here. The third one, right? That says 96.35. Right? Put that one on the bottom. Put that one there. Okay, so they're both. Okay. So these two are the same length. Right? They're the same length. Now I put this one on here. I'm probably not going to be able to do that because this cap is not wide enough. So now let's put this one on here. Scientific. Trying to be as scientific as possible, right? Not one. Nope. What the hell? Which one is which now? I'm confused. Oh, I'm so confused. Okay. There we go. Right. The bottom. Look how loose that bottom one is. Alright. Yeah, that's definitely thunder in the distance there. Look how loose that is. And that's on the cap, and I'm pulling exactly. And look how loose that bottom one is. So the bottom one is longer. Let's put that one back here. Let's try this again on this one. Okay. And these two are the same length. Right? So I got two of the same length, and I got one that's a little shorter. So I put this one on, although it says 63 and a half. It's obviously shorter, right, than the other two. So if I put this on and tighten it up, and I tighten the other two to the 1/4 inch deflection that it's supposed to have, how tight will this be? Will that stress the belt? Would that make the belt lose time in service and wear faster? Or will the belt stretch out and be fine? I guess there's only one way to find out, and that is to put it on, tighten it up, and run the beast until this belt snaps, right? So we can call that a destructive testing method. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Practicing for my opera. Unbelievable. That's not... There we go. All right, yippee-ki-yay. All right, let's see. How do we look? Now you're on. So now let's see. That's about... I think that's more than a 1/4 inch deflection, but that's tight. So they all seem pretty snug. They're nice and flush across the top. They're just sticking out maybe about a 1/16, and that's perfection as far as I'm concerned. And so basically I'm just gonna take a break because I'm sweating and I'm breathing hard, and I'm gonna let those belts acclimate to the stretch for about a half hour or so, and then I'll readjust them, tighten it down, and call it good. A G-O-O-D exclamation point. The sun has burned away the clouds, and now it's shake and bake time. I got, oh, my eye, sweat in my eye. I got sweat in my eye. Oh, pepper. No, Papillon was pepper. I got pepper in my eye. Yeah, whatever. Oh. Okay, so I put the belts back in the box. I just need to print the return slips to return them to AutoZone to get my refund. And while I was in here putting the belts on, I noticed that the rodents were building a house, or tried to build a house. I guess, can you see that? Can you see the grass that's in there? So I guess I might have to get a cat. I'm not a big fan of pets. I have a hard time taking care of myself, let alone picking up after another animal. But in this case, I might need a cat. But that's a long way off. Alright, so the belts have been stretching for a good half hour. And my knees are definitely taking the abuse here. And so I'm liking that tension is nice and tight. And I can see I'm just a little bit below where it was when I took them off. They were almost flush with this here. So this is just a little bit below, which is perfect because that'll give me room for a little stretch, and I can always tighten them up. And here I have plenty of clearance now on the blades, and there should be no issue whatsoever of the fan blades hitting the shroud. So having said that, it's time to put the, well, maybe I don't want to put the cowlings on yet. It's time to fire it up, I guess. Success. I think I'm gonna call it a day. Sun's out. It's over 100 degrees now, and kind of worn out. So, all right. I'll see you later. Thanks for tagging along on my adventure, journey, mission.